The human ship arrived quietly at the edge of the alien empire's space. It was not a warship. It was small, gray, and plain, carrying a limited group of human soldiers sent as part of a fragile peace agreement. Humanity was new to the wider galaxy and not respected. Many alien races believed humans were weak, short-lived, and too emotional to matter. Among the soldiers was a young human named Daniel Cross. He was not famous. He was not a hero. He had no noble family name, no special rank, and no powerful weapons of his own. He was simply a soldier who followed orders and tried to do the right thing. When the human delegation landed on the capital world of the alien empire, they were escorted to the royal city. The city was massive and beautiful. Towers of crystal and metal rose into the sky, glowing with soft light. Alien citizens of many shapes and colors moved through wide streets. To them, the humans looked small and fragile, wrapped in simple armor and cloth. Daniel felt the stares as they walked. He kept his eyes forward and his posture calm. Fear sat in his chest, but he did not let it control him. That evening, the humans were summoned to the royal palace. The palace was older than most human civilizations. Its walls were carved with stories of ancient victories and fallen stars. Inside the great hall, the alien king sat upon a high throne. He was tall, broad, and powerful, with eyes that seemed to see through lies. Beside him sat his daughter, the princess of the empire. Princess Lyra was known across the galaxy. She was intelligent, calm, and respected, even among hardened warriors. Many alien nobles hoped to one day bond with her for power and status. She had rejected them all. As the humans entered the hall, a deep silence fell. One by one, the alien nobles bowed low before the king. The human commander whispered urgently to his soldiers. "Kneel," he said. Now, the humans knelt. All except Daniel. He froze for a moment, confused. No one had told him this was required. In human custom, soldiers stood unless ordered otherwise. By the time he realized what was happening, it was too late. He was the only one standing in the vast hall. A sharp gasp echoed through the room. Several alien guards stepped forward, weapons humming to life. The king's eyes narrowed. "Human," the king said, his voice heavy with power. "Why do you stand when all others kneel?" Daniel's heart pounded. He swallowed and forced himself to speak honestly. "I meant no disrespect," Daniel said. "I did not understand your custom. If I have offended you, I accept the punishment." He did not rush to kneel. He did not beg. He simply stood, shoulders straight, eyes lowered in respect. The room waited. The king studied him for a long moment. Then slowly he raised one hand. The guard stepped back. "You may kneel now," the king said. Daniel did so immediately. Whispers spread through the hall, but something else happened as well. Princess Lyra leaned forward slightly. Her eyes were fixed on the human soldier who had stood alone without challenge or pride. She felt something stir in her chest, curiosity, sharp and unexpected. The ceremony continued, but her attention kept drifting back to him. Later that night, as the humans were escorted to their assigned quarters, alarms suddenly screamed through the palace. The lights dimmed. The ground shook. An explosion echoed from one of the outer halls. "Attack!" someone shouted in the alien tongue. Alien guards rushed past the humans, moving toward the source of the disturbance. The human commander ordered his soldiers to stay in place. They were guests, not defenders. Then Daniel heard screams, not soldiers, civilians. Without thinking, Daniel broke formation and ran toward the sound. "Cross!" his commander shouted. "Get back here!" Daniel did not stop. He followed the screams into a side hall where smoke filled the air. A section of the ceiling had collapsed. Alien civilians were trapped beneath broken stone and twisted metal. A fire burned nearby, spreading fast. Alien guards hesitated. The structure was unstable. Entering could mean death. Daniel rushed in anyway. He lifted burning debris with bare hands, ignoring the pain. He pulled one alien child free, then another. The aliens were heavier than humans, but he strained and kept going. Smoke filled his lungs. His vision blurred. An explosion rocked the hall. Part of the ceiling fell, striking Daniel across the back and pinning him to the ground. He cried out in pain but did not stop moving. With a final effort, he pushed the last trapped civilian toward safety before collapsing. When alien medics reached him, Daniel was unconscious. Princess Lyra arrived moments later. She took in the scene, the rescued civilians, the wounded human soldier, the fire still burning. "Who did this?" she demanded. An alien guard bowed deeply. "A human soldier, Your Highness." He disobeyed orders to save civilians. Lyra stared at Daniel's still form, her chest tightened. He had no duty to protect them. He had no reason to risk his life. Yet he had. Hours later, Daniel awoke in a medical chamber. His body ached and his head throbbed. He tried to sit up but was gently pushed back down. "Do not move," a calm voice said. Daniel turned his head and froze. Princess Lyra stood beside his bed. Daniel tried to speak, then stopped. "I'm sorry if I caused trouble." Lyra tilted her head slightly. "You saved lives." "That is not trouble." She studied him closely. He did not meet her eyes. He showed no hunger, no ambition, no attempt to impress her. "Why did you do it?" she asked. Daniel thought for a moment. "They were scared," he said simply, "and I could help." Lyra felt something shift inside her. Among her people, strength was measured by conquest and dominance. This human showed a different kind of strength. "Do humans often act this way?" she asked. "Some do," Daniel replied. "Some don't. I'm not special." She almost smiled. After a moment, she stepped back. "You will recover here. You are under royal protection." Daniel's eyes widened. "I don't deserve that." "You deserve more than you think," Lyra said softly. She turned and left before he could respond. In the days that followed, rumors spread through the palace. The alien king heard of the human soldier's actions. Nobles whispered with unease. A human had risked his life for aliens without reward. Princess Lyra watched from a distance as Daniel recovered. Each day her certainty grew stronger. This human was different, and soon the entire empire would feel the weight of her choice. The palace did not return to peace after the attack. The fire was gone, the halls repaired, but something invisible had changed. Whispers followed the humans wherever they walked. Alien nobles watched them with narrowed eyes, no longer seeing them as harmless guests. Daniel Cross recovered slowly. His injuries healed faster than expected, thanks to alien medicine, but the attention made him uncomfortable. Guards stood outside his room at all times. Servants bowed to him. None of it felt right. He was a soldier, not someone important. Princess Lyra visited him again 3 days later. This time, she did not come alone. 2 royal aides followed her, their faces carefully neutral. Daniel struggled to stand when she entered. "You do not need to rise," Lyra said. "Please sit." He obeyed, hands resting awkwardly on his knees. "I have been watching you," Lyra said calmly. Daniel swallowed. "I hope I didn't break any rules." "You broke many," she replied. "Yet you are not punished." She walked slowly around the room, her steps silent. "Among my people, obedience is valued. Strength is proven by victory. You disobeyed and lost consciousness, yet lives were saved." Daniel frowned slightly. "Saving people isn't about winning." Her eyes sharpened with interest. "Explain." He hesitated, then spoke simply. "If someone is in danger and you can help, you help, even if it costs you." Lyra stopped walking. That answer stayed with her long after she left. The alien king summoned the human delegation the following cycle. This time, the summons was public. Nobles filled the great hall, their voices low and sharp with curiosity. Daniel stood among his fellow soldiers, feeling the tension in the air. He noticed how many alien eyes followed him. The king rose from his throne. "Humans," the king said, his voice echoing. "You come from a young species. Many believe your kind lacks discipline and strength." Murmurs of agreement spread. "Yet one of your soldiers acted without command and saved alien lives," the king continued. This action has caused debate. He turned his gaze to Daniel. "Step forward," Daniel obeyed. "You disobeyed orders," the king said. "Why?" Daniel took a breath. "Because waiting would have meant people died." "And if you had died," the king asked. Daniel did not hesitate. "Then I would have died doing the right thing." Silence followed. The king's expression did not change, but his eyes studied Daniel deeply. "You value life beyond your own," the king said. "That is rare." Princess Lyra watched closely. Her heart beat faster. The king raised one hand. "Today we will judge humanity not by words but by action." At his signal, guards entered the hall, escorting elite alien warriors. Their armor gleamed, weapons humming softly. A ripple of fear moved through the humans. "This is a trial," the king said, "a test of worth. A human champion will face our warriors in controlled combat, not to kill, only to endure." The human commander stepped forward. "Your Majesty, my soldiers are not trained for." "I choose the human," the king said, pointing. "Daniel Cross." Gasps filled the hall. Daniel felt his stomach drop. Before his commander could protest, Princess Lyra stood. "Father," she said. The hall froze. "This test is unfair," she continued. "Humans are physically weaker. This proves nothing." The king looked at her. "Then what would prove their worth?" Lyra turned toward Daniel. She met his eyes for the first time. He did not look away. "Let him fight as humans do," she said. "With strategy, restraint, and purpose." The king considered this, then nodded once. "So be it." The trial took place in the arena beneath the palace. Thousands watched from above. Humans and aliens alike waited in tense silence. Daniel entered the arena wearing simple protective gear. No advanced weapons. No enhancements. Across from him stood three elite alien warriors. A horn sounded. The warriors moved fast, circling him. Daniel did not attack. He watched, waited, moved only when needed. When one lunged, Daniel dodged, using the warrior's strength against him. Another attacked from behind. Daniel fell, rolled, and avoided a killing blow by inches. He was struck again and again. Pain flared through his body. Blood stained the floor. Yet he did not strike back with lethal force. When one warrior slipped, Daniel caught him, preventing a fatal fall. When another was injured, Daniel stepped back, giving space. The crowd grew quiet. This was not weakness. It was control. After long minutes, the king raised his hand. "Enough!" The warriors stepped back, breathing hard. Daniel collapsed to one knee, barely conscious. Silence filled the arena. Then Princess Lyra walked forward. She stood before the crowd, her voice clear and steady. "I choose him." Shock rippled outward like a wave. Gasps, shouts, angry cries. "I choose the human soldier Daniel Cross," Lyra said. "As my mate." The arena erupted. Nobles shouted in protest. Some laughed in disbelief. Others looked afraid. The human delegation froze in horror. Daniel lifted his head slowly. "What?" he whispered. The king rose slowly from his throne. "You understand what this means?" he asked his daughter. "I do," Lyra said, "and I accept the consequences." The king turned his gaze to Daniel. "And you, human," he said. "Do you accept this bond?" Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at the crowd, at the angry nobles, at his commander, then at Lyra. She did not command him. She did not demand. She waited. "I don't understand why you chose me," Daniel said honestly. "I'm not strong like your people." "I'm not important." Lyra stepped closer. "You are strong where it matters." Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. "If my people are harmed because of this," he said, "I won't accept." The king's eyes narrowed. Princess Lyra placed her hand over her heart. "Then I will give you proof." The king spoke again, his voice heavy. "Very well, one condition. Humanity will face a greater test. If your species fails, this bond is void. If you succeed, the galaxy will know your worth." A distant alarm echoed through the palace. An enemy fleet had entered Imperial space. The true test had begun. The alarm echoed through the palace again and again, deep and heavy, like a warning heartbeat. Red lights flashed along the walls. The shouting in the arena faded into sharp fear. An enemy fleet had entered the outer systems of the alien empire. The king stood tall, his expression turning cold and focused. "Clear the arena," he commanded. "This is no longer ceremony. This is war." Alien guards moved fast. Nobles were rushed away. Human soldiers regrouped, confused but ready. Princess Lyra remained where she was, her eyes fixed on the large display screens forming above the arena. Lines of red symbols showed enemy ships moving closer. Daniel struggled to stand. His body screamed with pain, but he forced himself upright. A medic reached for him, but Daniel waved them away. "What's happening?" he asked. Lyra turned to him. "An enemy that has watched us for a long time," she said. "They believe both humans and my people are weak together." Daniel clenched his fists. "Then they're wrong." The king heard him. "You are injured," the king said. "You will not fight." Daniel met his gaze. "With respect, your majesty, humans don't quit when things get hard." A low murmur moved through the nearby soldiers. The king studied him, then nodded once. "Very well, but you will not fight alone." Within hours, the palace transformed into a command center. Screens filled the halls. Officers shouted orders in multiple languages. The enemy fleet was large, faster than expected, and ruthless. They did not send messages. They did not warn. They came to destroy. Alien commanders focused on heavy defenses and direct attacks. Daniel watched the projections quietly. He saw patterns the others ignored. "They're baiting you," Daniel said suddenly. Several alien officers turned toward him, annoyed. "Explain," one snapped. Daniel pointed at the display. "They're drawing your strongest ships forward, then they hit the supply lines. Humans have seen this before." The room fell silent. Princess Lyra looked at him sharply. "You have fought enemies like this." "Different faces," Daniel said. "Same thinking." The king stepped closer. "What would humans do?" Daniel took a breath. "We'd stop trying to overpower them. We'd outlast them, hit where they don't expect, protect civilians first." Some alien officers scoffed, but Lyra spoke. "Let him speak," Daniel continued. "They think we will panic. Instead, we slow them down. Small strike teams, disrupt their coordination, make them waste time and energy." The king considered this. Then the enemy attacked the outer colonies. The first reports were brutal. Cities burned, defense platforms fell. Refugee ships flooded the space lanes. Daniel watched the feeds, jaw tight. "We can help," he said. "Humans are good at evacuation. Let us handle that." The king hesitated only a moment. Granted. Human soldiers moved fast. They boarded transports, coordinating with alien pilots. Daniel led one of the first teams. His injuries slowed him, but he refused to stop. They landed on a colony under attack. The sky burned with enemy fire. Buildings collapsed. Screams filled the air. Human soldiers moved through the chaos, guiding civilians, shielding them, carrying those who could not walk. They did not fire unless needed. They did not retreat unless forced. Alien civilians watched in shock as humans risked themselves again and again. An enemy unit ambushed Daniel's team near a shelter. Blasts threw him to the ground. His vision blurred. Pain tore through his chest. "Fall back," a human soldier shouted. Daniel pushed himself up. "Not yet." He grabbed a fallen alien child and shielded them as debris fell around them. An explosion knocked him hard against a wall. Something cracked inside his body. He collapsed. Princess Lyra arrived minutes later with alien forces. She found Daniel lying in the rubble, barely breathing. "No," she whispered. She knelt beside him, lifting his head gently. His eyes opened slightly. "Did they get out?" he asked. "Yes," she said, voice tight. "They're safe." A weak smile touched his lips. "Good." He lost consciousness. Daniel was rushed back to the capital world. Medics worked without rest. Alien technology fought human fragility. His condition was critical. The king stood outside the medical chamber with Lyra. "You risk much for this human," the king said quietly. "He risks everything for others," Lyra replied. "How can I do less?" The battle continued. Humans and aliens fought side by side. Human tactics slowed the enemy advance. Evacuations saved millions. Small strike teams disabled enemy command ships. The enemy began to lose patience. That impatience became mistakes. The combined fleet launched a final defense at the capital system. This time, humans helped coordinate timing and movement. Alien firepower struck with precision. The enemy fleet fractured. After a long, brutal engagement, the invaders retreated. The war was not over forever, but the Empire had survived. Days later, Daniel woke again. The room was quiet. Soft light glowed along the walls. His body felt heavy, weak, but alive. Princess Lyra sat beside him. "You won," he whispered. "We won," she corrected. He tried to sit up. Pain stopped him. "Guess I didn't prove humans are weak." Lyra let out a small, shaky breath that might have been a laugh. "You proved something far greater," she said. The king entered the room soon after. He stood before Daniel, tall and solemn. "You stood against our enemies while injured," the king said. "You saved our people. Humanity has passed the test." Daniel swallowed. "Then the bond." The king looked at his daughter. She met his gaze without fear. "It will stand," the king said, "if the human accepts." Daniel looked at Lyra. He saw exhaustion in her eyes, determination, hope. "I'm still just a soldier," he said. Lyra took his hand gently. "And that is why I chose you." Outside the chamber, the Empire waited, and across the galaxy, whispers had already begun. Humans were no longer ignored. They were remembered. The Empire did not celebrate right away. The enemy fleet had retreated, but the damage was deep. Many colonies were wounded. Cities needed rebuilding. Families mourned the lost. Victory felt quiet, heavy, and real. Daniel Cross remained in the medical wing for many days. His body healed slowly. Alien medicine had saved his life, but it could not remove all pain. Some nights he woke up gasping, memories of fire and falling stones still fresh in his mind. Princess Lyra stayed near him whenever duty allowed. She did not speak much. She did not need to. Her presence alone brought him calm. Across the Empire, news spread. A human soldier had led evacuations. Humans had fought beside aliens. Humans had not fled when fear was strongest. The word weak was no longer spoken so easily. When Daniel was finally able to walk again, the king summoned him and Lyra to the High Council chamber. This chamber had not been used for centuries. Its walls showed the history of the empire, carved in light and stone. Alien nobles filled the room. Military leaders stood at attention. Human representatives waited at the back, tense and uncertain. Daniel felt out of place. He wore simple human clothing, no armor, no symbols of rank. He stood straight anyway. The king rose. "Today," the king said, "we decide the future." Silence followed. "The bond my daughter declared was not made lightly," the king continued. "It was tested by war. It was tested by sacrifice." He turned toward the council. "Humans stood when they could have run. They protected our civilians. They fought without desire for conquest." Some nobles shifted uncomfortably. "One human," the king said, "changed how we see an entire species." He looked directly at Daniel. "Step forward." Daniel did. "You were given a choice," the king said. "You could have lived quietly. Instead, you carried others through fire." Daniel lowered his head. "Anyone could have done the same." "No," the king replied. "Many would not." The king raised his staff, signaling the ancient law. "Princess Lyra, do you still choose this human as your mate?" Lyra stepped forward. Her voice did not shake. "I do." The king turned to Daniel. "Human soldier," he said. "Do you accept a bond that will place you between worlds, judged by all, protected by none?" Daniel's thoughts raced. He thought of Earth, of his unit, of the people he had carried from the ruins, of Lyra standing beside him, not above him. "I accept," Daniel said. "Not for power, not for status, but to protect both our peoples." The chamber remained silent. Then slowly one alien noble bowed, then another, then a third. The High Council recognized the bond. The galaxy reacted faster than anyone expected. Other empires sent messages. some curious, some angry, some afraid. Many had underestimated humanity for too long. Now they questioned everything they believed. Humanity's leaders were overwhelmed. They had not planned for this level of attention. A single soldier had shifted galactic politics. Daniel did not like the attention. He trained again, slowly, carefully. He walked among alien civilians without guards when possible. He helped rebuild damaged areas. He listened more than he spoke. That earned him more respect than any speech could. Princess Lyra changed too. She stepped away from tradition. She questioned old laws. She spoke openly about cooperation instead of dominance. Some resisted her. Others followed eagerly. Together, Daniel and Lyra became something new, not rulers, bridges. Months passed. One day, as they stood overlooking the capital city, Lyra spoke softly. "My people once believed strength meant standing above others," she said. "Now they see strength in standing beside." Daniel smiled faintly. "Humans are still learning that too." She turned toward him. "Do you regret your choice?" He looked at the stars. "Every day is hard, that means it matters." She nodded. The bond ceremony was simple. No grand display, no ancient weapons. Just two beings choosing each other under the open sky. Human and alien flags stood side by side. When the ceremony ended, the crowd did not cheer loudly. They stood in respectful silence. Across the galaxy, something changed. Humans were no longer seen as fragile newcomers. They were allies, they were protectors. They were a people who chose compassion even when it hurt. Daniel Cross remained a soldier at heart, but history would remember him as something more. Not a conqueror, not a king. A human who stood when it mattered. And a future that began with a simple question: will you be my mate, human?